I'd love to just start with the decision to do it in the first place. So Bridie, if it's okay, I'll kick it off with you to just understand what were some of the triggers or catalysts for you in your decision to test AI in this context?
Sure, yeah, thanks, Lindsay. I'll throw out some general ones because I think they certainly all apply to my case, and then maybe get a little bit more specific. I think looking for savings, looking for a return on investment for something. If you're in-house like I am, you're part of a business, so legal doesn't really sell anything. They're usually a cost center. So how do you show savings and kind of show your value, right? There's part of that that's just self-interest for our department, I think. But really kind of more on the nose, pressure points in our workflows, whether that's internal or external, case-specific triggers, right? Things keep coming up on maybe a particular case, or usually if you're looking for a trigger for change, it's what comes up consistently. For us specifically, we're a German organization. A lot of our data is hosted in Germany. We have to deal with the GDPR and data privacy. So we want to make sure we're compliant with the GDPR, but we're also meeting the really fast-moving and volume-dense demands of US e-discovery. So there's a lot that's potentially in conflict there. I think that in and of itself is kind of a bottleneck, and that's something that we really wanted to solve for. So that was probably, I think, one of our immediate triggers, at least in terms of privacy, in terms of the proof of concept for Text IQ. But also, believe me, privilege logs are the bane of my existence. So your tool has that functionality as well, and that's something I'm always looking to improve on. So.
Yeah, and Matt, I'd be interested to hear from you just generally from the law firm side, like what is there a responsibility as a partner to Bridie, right? Or all of your customers, is there a responsibility to be exploring new technology?
Yeah, I think it's even more than just a responsibility. There's an obligation, really. What's important to my client is important to me, number one, and you have to kind of have that mentality. But secondly, these things, depending on your deadlines, depending on the demands of particular investigations and litigations, it's innovate or die, right? I mean, the data, the velocity and the variety of data and data generation within companies that are coming into play for not just e-discovery, but all aspects of the EDR and spectrum. We have to figure out ways to continue to be cheaper, faster, better, and how we deal with that data and meet our clients' demands. So it's, again, more than just a responsibility, I think. If I'm not offering that, if I'm not looking at opportunities to do that with our clients, then, somebody else is. So I think you just have to be competitive in that sense.
What are the long-term benefits to you all for testing AI as well?
Sure, Jim, I'll go first. What I learned from each experience, I can leverage in my service to all of my clients, right? And the knowledge that I gain makes me that much more effective in providing advice, frankly, to Bridie in the future and anyone else that I'm working with. So, again, kind of going back to what I said in the beginning, it's, for me, I think, I have to be willing to adapt, incorporate technology into the services that I'm providing. So each experience I gain in doing that, makes me better at my job. It's, again, innovate or die. So there's long-term benefits for me personally and for my other clients. And when I do things with them, I bring that experience back to Bridie and others. So cumulative effect of doing these things with multiple clients kind of across the industry.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think, a trend we've all been seeing for years, and I think is only going to continue to, increase is that, there might be less and less needs for, human review, right? Like I don't want to get too dramatic here because I tend to take some of the stuff with a grain of salt, but there may not be the need to do, have eyes on review of things that we would have 10 years ago or even 2 years ago. And so on one hand, I think that some people can see that in our industry, could see that as a challenge or, something, and it may be a challenge, but I think there's at every step in the industry that I've seen, any kind of it's replacement. It's replacement of skill sets. It is, if there is something now that I used to review documents for privilege. Well, if you don't need me to do that anymore, no, but somebody needs to run that technology, and somebody needs to be helping design that technology and the workflows, and to come up with whatever tomorrow's technology is going to be. And so I think, to kind of circle back to what Matt said, I think that's important for clients, because those of us at Sidley or at eMerge that aren't giving our clients the cutting edge of that are going to find ourselves not being called by those clients anymore. And certainly all of Matt's points of, anything that expands what we can offer, and how efficient we can be and how accurate we can be in a discovery process is something for us to benefit from. But I can also just break it down more here. I mean, for instance, on using Text IQ here may have taken, let's say we had a very small project Bridie needed done that a year ago would have taken us 10 hours we could bill to complete, but now using Text IQ it takes us half that time. I think that it can be a trap to think of that as like, oh, well, that's a lost opportunity, because that's not what we're offering, right? We're offering the solution. I want Bridie to be able to get through that many more of those projects, and I want to help be more efficient on the projects, lessen those, because data is only increasing. The challenges of discovery are only increasing, and so we want to make each and every individual project more efficient, less time consuming, less expensive, so that Bridie wants to keep calling us for more and more projects, right? And Bridie, sorry to put you on the spot there, but I think that's it. I definitely think, quality is the driver and the way for people to differentiate themselves in e-discovery, and having the best tools and just having the best toolkit is the way to drive that quality.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about getting key stakeholders on board and what's important to them. I think that's related to that, right? Getting kind of over that hurdle. Part of that dynamic is it could be easy to think that AI tools specifically are against the self-interest of the discovery attorney, right? But the truth is, I mean, Jim, I can't really say it any better than what you did. And really what Matt touched on, we have an obligation to at least educate ourselves on what's out there, what tools are out there, right? Maybe you don't need that tool, but you need to at least know what's out there and know what's coming, develop the skill set for it. That's, that to me is how you get repeat business, if you want to look at it that way, right? Because, you can either look at it as, well, maybe we're losing some billable hours on a particular project or case, but ultimately who clients are going to trust to go back to are those who are at least up to date in their skill set and their knowledge base in terms of what tools are out there, right? So, you don't want, if the analogy is a lawnmower, I mean, you can only push, a manual lawnmower for so long before someone else comes along with, a gas one, an electric one, one with a battery where you don't need any of that. That's just as powerful. And then you got to ask yourself, why are you still paying the guy who charges you twice as much to push the manual lawnmower? Sorry, that's a really bad analogy, but that
works.
Yeah.
None of us want to be that guy.
Nobody wants to be the slow landscaper. Yeah.